Hi everyone, kamusta po kayo? Thank you for coming back to the FiliPhrases channel. You're back with Jess and I am going to talk to you today about some tips that you could use if you are a complete beginner. So I've been getting a lot of messages recently on the Instagram page from complete beginners asking, where do I even start? How do I begin to learn Tagalog? So I thought I would put together this little video of tips and tricks that you could use if you are starting from complete scratch. Now before we get into it, I just want to say this is my own personal opinion. Everyone has their own way of studying. These are my views and what worked for me. Hopefully you can take something away from this, or maybe even find your own ways that work for you. If you find a different way that works, please comment below. Other people I'm sure would love to see how you started learning. And if you want to reach out to me, you always can on the Instagram page. The link to the page is down below. I'm always checking the DM, so please do drop me a message. Tip number 1, familiarize yourself with the alphabet, or in Tagalog, abacada. You might be surprised, but Tagalog does have its own alphabet. It's basically the same as the Latin alphabet, but it's removed a bunch of letters and replaced them with ones like nang. Yes, ng, that's one letter in Tagalog. And the enya, don't forget the enya. It's pronounced nya, ny, but that's one letter as well. So familiarize yourselves with the way that the abacada differs from the regular Latin alphabet. That way you can start to familiarize yourself more with the way things are pronounced and start pronouncing things properly. Tip number 2, greetings go a long way in the Philippines. Greetings and simple phrases that you might use in day-to-day life, even if you don't know more than those, they will get you quite far when you're traveling around the Philippines. Filipino people really appreciate every little bit of Tagalog that you speak, so even if you only know like kumusta ka, pabili po, salamat po, those kinds of phrases, you'll still be received really warmly, even if you then go on to use English thereafter. Don't feel like you have to start constructing really complex sentences immediately. Start small and then grow from there. Tip number 3. Personally, the hardest thing for me is grammar. So I would recommend investing in a textbook that works for you, that explains grammar the way that you understand it. I really like this textbook, Basic Tagalog for Foreigners and Non-Tagalogs. I will put the link in the description below so that you can see the full details of this book. But I really like it because it's really succinct and it explains things in a way that makes sense to me. Take a look around, shop around, find a beginner's level book, but this one I think is probably the best one that I've found so far. Plus it's readily accessible and purchasable on a number of different platforms. I'm sure you could find it online somewhere. Tip number 4, drill vocabulary. Once you start learning the basic grammar and the basic ways to construct sentences, all you need to know are the words. You can actually get by on a lot of English words, or even if you have some Spanish knowledge, you could take a guess and say a Spanish word, but there are different ways that you can start expanding your vocabulary. Tip number 4.1. Watch lots of YouTube videos, TV shows, movies. Watch as much as you can in Tagalog. It doesn't matter if they speak a lot in Taglish. In fact, sometimes that's better when you're a beginner because you can get the context a lot easier if there's English involved. Keep consuming that content in Tagalog. The more that you listen, the more vocabulary you'll pick up just automatically. As you're looking at the subtitles, you'll start making associations with the Tagalog words. Try and write those down somewhere in a notebook or on your computer somewhere and keep reviewing those as time goes on. Tip number 4.2. Use vocabulary lists. Vocabulary lists do exist online. Admittedly, there aren't so many for Tagalog as there are for other languages that people might be learning, but they do exist. I've developed a specific set of vocabulary lists for people of all different levels, and you can find those on the FiliPhrases Quizlet page. The link is in the description below. Please do feel free to use those. Quizlet is a really great tool to help you learn vocabulary. It keeps testing you on your knowledge using a multitude of different approaches to help you to learn and retain that information. So I really recommend going to check it out. And if you want to use the FiliPhrases vocab sets, please by all means do so. Tip number 5. Keep reviewing. When you learn new grammar and when you learn new words, try to make sure that you keep using it. The way that I try to retain information is I like to write diary entries and short stories, making sure that I use the words and the grammar that I learned from the previous session. Also, when I sit down to study, I do take a quick look back at what I studied the previous time and try to refresh my memory on the words that I've learned. That way you're not just learning them in one session and then forgetting about it the next session. Try to refresh your memory, try to incorporate those words into your day-to-day. And that's partly why Quizlet is so good, because it constantly reminds you of the words every single time. It starts to get stuck in your brain and all of a sudden it will become a lot more easily accessible to you. Like I said guys, this is my personal approach to how I started studying Tagalog. It's gonna be different for everyone. Not everything is gonna work for everyone. Please let me know what works for you and what doesn't. And like I said, please do send me a message on Instagram. Studying languages on your own is really, really tough, and you do need other people to lean on for advice and practice. So if you ever need to talk to anyone, please just give me a shout on Instagram. Like I said, the link's below. Send us a message, give us a follow. New content is uploaded every single week on Instagram. And also don't forget to hit like on this video and subscribe to the channel so that you can be aware of when the latest videos are being uploaded. See you guys soon. To keep you